Welcome to Threads of Enlightenment, a podcast devoted to helping you overcome challenges in your life that prevent you from becoming the best version of yourself. Each episode features interviews with people from all walks of life about their journey of self-development and the principles they utilize to overcome their fears to achieve their desired outcome. Ready to be enlightened? Here's your host, Ken Primus.
Welcome to another episode of Threads of Enlightenment. As usual, it is my honor to welcome our guests because I know they're coming with a couple of things I deem very expensive, their time. What a precious commodity has been offered to each and every one of us. 24 hours. Man, when I was younger, I disrespected her. But as I got older and saw who she was, I learned to honor her, respect her, and I fell in love with time. And she has been rewarding me tremendously. And so I invite all of you guys to understand her, get to know her, for she will honor you in due season. The other is the journey. The journey is a powerful creator. It has created the individual that is before us. And as you know, I do not believe that people just come here just to come here. They came here with their assignment. And so we want to honor Dina for coming and spending both of these precious commodity here with us at Threads of Enlightenment. Thank you so much for coming to Threads.
Thank you so much for having me today.
It is an honor to have you here. Introduce yourself to the folks, and then and with this question that I'll ask, how do you serve mankind? And I usually ask that question because I want my audience to wake up to the fact that they need to understand that their journey is twofold as well, is that it's not all about you, it's about you and us. So how do you serve mankind?
So the way that I would, my name is Dina Merhbi, and the way that I serve mankind is looking through the struggles that I've been through and the successes and the journey that I've had in terms of growing and creating a better life through those struggles. The way that I serve mankind is to help people save the time, the struggle, and the pain that I had to go through and help them actually feel better in their body, mind, and soul. My struggles came from my body image struggles. My struggles came from having anorexia, binge eating, and even being in emotionally problematic business life and also relationships. And despite the struggles that I've been through, I'm still able to be here today, thriving and still learning and still improving my life. And the way that I serve is showing people what's possible when you choose you as a center of your life.
I love your crystallization of your vision and your assignment. It is perfect. It is always about us in the sense of we are our first client. And as our first client, we get a chance to go through some tough things so that the others coming behind who we have the privilege and the honor of coaching or guiding, that they do not have to go through that. And so I love how you crystallize that. One of our customs that we do here at Threads of Enlightenment is we love to investigate, as they say. I love the questions because questions to me are the way that you locate an individual as to where they are and what their needs are. One of the very first spaces that we reside as an individual in our journey on this planet, if you will, until we become an adult, that adulthood stuff. I still want to be a kid. But the very first space that we reside for a few years is with the family unit. We are told that that family unit consists of mom and dad, and these two individuals are now going to deposit data into you and I. This data is going to assist us in creating ourselves. Mom and dad are traumatized in whatever form they are, and yet they are going to deposit things into you and I that will help form our beliefs, build relationships, and so forth. What was your family unit like?
So I love what you explained because we are born kind of like a clean slate, like you have a brand new phone, clean operating system, and our parents kind of bring in apps or new beliefs and concepts into our life. So I grew up in an environment that was very focused on the image. My family was in the fashion industry. All my siblings were slim and tall, and I was that little chunky girl that was actually born at 12 pounds, which I know is actually a heavy baby compared to the standard 6 pounds. So already from the moment I was born, I was kind of labeled the chubby one. I was labeled different at the same time because I looked different from my siblings. I took more from my mom's side than my dad's side. So as I was growing up, even though I had if you look at my pictures, I'm like, I had a normal physique, but if you compare me with my siblings, I looked larger. So that was kind of the
Hmm.
label that they put on me. And on top of that label of being called like chubby, I was also like loud and opinionated and stubborn. And I had all these concepts and belief that that was not welcomed as a woman in society. And I felt it since my brother could be loud and that was okay. But me being loud, it was not accepted. I was too much. Even though at the beginning I was like, this is who I am and I'm okay with it. It's still a big struggle being in an environment where people are saying who you are is not good enough. And I still felt loved in my family, but I always felt compared. I still felt I was not good enough. I always felt
Yeah.
like I had to adapt to who I was. And because now I'm actually in the process of finishing up and writing a book where I'm sharing more of my story. With the comments that I had, I was loud, I was opinionated, I was stubborn. I had weird comments like, you know, do your friends know that you're like this? Or who's going to date you and who's going to marry you because of my big personality? Instead of seeing it as, wow, she's going to be a leader. She's going to be a boss. She's going to create big things in her life. So I was not valued for those amazing personality traits I feel like could have been positive. They were seen more as negative in the female world and society and my culture, which was Lebanese growing up. I'm still Lebanese, but that culture is brings down a little bit, woman has to be calm and quiet and
Yeah.
stand behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I tell people about the programmers. We have the programmers as society as a whole, and you have the gender roles that quote unquote society creates for between male and women. And then within the
Mm-hmm,
family, you also
mm-hmm,
have the family dynamics programming
mm-hmm,
that also comes into play. And we, as sponges, as clean programs, clean phone, if you will, are in this mix and we are receiving data consciously and subconsciously. And here
mm-hmm,
you receiving your data consciously and subconsciously, you are making judgments, you're making perception based on those conscious programming that are happening around you. And here's this young girl already looking at the explicit separation between male and female based on their performance. One can be loud. And as a woman, that's what you had stated, as a woman, here's this young individual seeing this already
mm-hmm.
and holding that to her chest, if you will, as she embarks on her journey. As you're moving through your life and you're getting older, how did you relate to others? Because it becomes important, as I said, our relationship begins to form, I believe, all of these different things. What was your relationship outside of the family? We know the pressures of the family. What was your relationship like outside?
Relationship in terms of how I was
Friends.
viewed, how I lived my personality.
Yeah, how were you relating to your friends? How were you creating, making friends? What was your conversational style like
Mm-hmm.
and relationship style as you are developing and creating relationships?
So with that family dynamic, for sure, there's various comments, but if I look back younger, because I moved a lot when I was young, from the age of like 0 to 9, we moved countries 3, 4 times. So there was
Hmm.
something there that as well had an impact on me. But if I look before we actually had our first move, I was actually the leader of my friends. I was the strong one in my friends. I was the one that was the most social one in my friends. So in certain environments, I was actually seen as a positive thing among
Hmm.
my girlfriends, of being that leader, being that strong person. But still, there's always that little thing of teachers and certain people still finding I was too much as a girl, but boys were okay to be loud and, rough play, but women weren't allowed to be loud and rough play. But so with my friends, I still felt I could be more myself. But I feel there was a point as I'm going through, like, as a teenager, there's always a part of me that was a little bit reserved every time that I moved because I was like, what if they're not going to be liking my personality because my family kept making little comments here and there? So I found myself more of an introvert, even though I'm actually an extrovert. And that changed as I progressed, as I did my own healing. That's when I went to like college, university. Then I was able to go back and become myself again. But from the age of, let's say, 5 to 17, 18, I actually became more of an introvert, weirdly enough, because of those comments. However, I was the most extroverted one in my group of friends.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to me why I start, Dina, why I start with our childhood and progression, because it's amazing what we do to survive, how we change our personality, and this is where the actors, I tell people, the different roles that we play in life. And as one dies, then there's a transition. And so here's this young girl, extrovert, but has to now create a new character in order to survive, so that she can make it onto her next phase of development or exposure from out of the family. When you were looking at college, let me ask this question as to what field did you pick and why did you pick it? Because you have these personalities within yourself, the extrovert and the introvert that are there. Who won when it came to deciding which college and what field did you pick?
So I like what you say, but in terms of acceptance, and if I look in terms of being extroverted, the big word that would come out for me is freedom. Being able to be myself, I need to find a profession that kept me free. So what I found surprising, because I graduated being a registered dietitian. I'm no longer right now a registered dietitian, but I actually did the schooling for it. And the one reason why I went into that field was because there was actually a health fair happening in college. And then you went to different people. I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go because I felt I was going to go to med school, but I didn't feel I was going to get in. Then I met this dietitian and I was like, what's your job? You just calculate calories and tell people to lose weight. She's like, no. Yes, you can be in clinics, you can be in hospitals, but you can be on TV, you can write cookbooks, you can go speak on stage, you can do your own contracts, you can be your own entrepreneur. So the extrovert in me like came out because it gave so many options. So yes, I do care about health and nutrition because I was struggling with anorexia and binge eating at that time. But it was more the freedom of I can get into this job and I can do what I want with it. I was not going to be stuck in a little square cube having to follow the same thing every day. I went to a job that actually would open up and I can actually be who I want to be, do what I want to do, and having the options for it. So I think that was the most tempting part for me to enter as a bachelor's of university in dietetics and human nutrition. Yes, I do enjoy health, but it was really the freedom of being able to do all these different things, whatever I felt like doing once and for all.
So the extrovert got a chance to exert itself, if you will. And once you're there, and the extrovert now is in the position where she wants to be. Talk about that hurting girl that is anorexic and going through all of that painful stuff. Now that she is in a field, if you will, that addresses that is now going to focus on that. How did you able to manage yourself at that time with all this data coming to you, and yet your behavior was opposite of what you're basically studying? What were you doing and how were you managing that?
So when I entered university, I was struggling with binge eating, because whenever you struggle with anorexia, if you don't get the right support, you go to the other extreme, which is binge eating. So I went to school hoping to find the answers. So we go to university and we're still looking at these people, these experts that might tell me how actually I can fix myself. Because I know binge eating is not healthy, and I was gaining weight and I was not feeling good. And I was looking at this person, at these teachers, as this program, as like the answer, the solution to my problems. However, despite my 4 years of schooling, I still struggled with my eating. I'm like, something is off. So again, I felt I was broken. I felt that I went to the top schools. I had amazing teachers. I followed what they told me, and it's not working. So I'm broken. I'm not worthy. I will not change. So that's how it was when I graduated university. And again, binge eating that was 25 years ago, we don't really talk about it. It was just anorexia, bulimia, and overweight. Stop eating, exercise more, and that was the knowledge that I was given. But it was only when I graduated and I started working in a medical clinic and I met my clients and I was like, you know what? They're struggling like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel alone anymore, but nobody's talking about it. And I remember they would tell me, they're like, I see my doctor. They tell me eat less, move more. It's not working. I go see a therapist. They're like, you're not under a medical or mental health diagnosis. We can't help you. So then they came to me. They're like, what do I do? And seeing these people struggling and having the same pain as me, same struggle as me, I was like, I'm not broken. I'm misunderstood. And
Yeah.
because of that journey of seeing the broken system that I had at university that didn't tackle my struggle and seeing the clients struggling with that, I told myself, okay, the way that I can actually succeed is thinking outside the box, not looking at these people as the know-it-all. They're not necessarily the experts because it's not working. And that's when I
Yeah.
decided to be the extroverted self, being the person that breaks the rules, being allowed doing things in her own way. And I ventured out of what's typical of what health is. I really ventured into different ways, modalities of yoga, of mindfulness, of nutrition, of mental health. And then I saw myself healing my journey with food. I saw my clients healing their journey at the same time. And that's when I realized I'm like, I'm not here to follow the rules because the rules did not help me, did not help them. I'm here to create a new path for people to know that you're not broken, you're just on the wrong path and there's a right path for you. And that was really something that happened through my struggle of feeling I was broken to saying, I'm not. This was just not working for me. There's a better way. And I did the searching and I'm still always researching on it to make things better for my clients. And that's when I saw the success of my clients and I was like, if you feel like you're doing something, you're struggling and you're following whatever people are telling you, it's not working. It's not you that's broken. That system is not made for you. And you need to keep working to find the system that's going to work for you, that is fun, that is enjoyable. And it shouldn't be a struggle like many of the systems are out there in terms of health. So that was my journey of going back into introverted, broken to, you know what, let me break the walls, break the norms and find something new to help my clients.
I think we're all supposed to find something new. I think everything is designed that way. We're all supposed to go through this process, if you will, of personal development and personalize the experience of our journey to be able to fit us because, again, we are our first client. So it's designed by us for us. And then as we began to see some manifestation of it working on us, it gives us the opportunity to offer those same process, if you will, to someone else to see if it affords them. And then when we see people adhere to that process, they will go through it. And then even they will add a little this, a little that is different from you. And so that process continues to grow. That's why I believe it's designed to have 8 billion people go through the process and come out with everything differently and make it this beautiful thing that we can always be happy about and be a part of, because that's how we support each other. So here you are. I love that you had to become a maverick in a way to separate yourself from, quote unquote, the experts. As you began to do your research and to look outside of the norm, what were some of those folks, those other leaders outside, if you will, those modalities that you started to look in? You mentioned yoga, you mentioned some of the others. What did you find once you began to expand your understanding of the subject of dealing with nutrition and all the other mindset things?
So, because I did the nutrition, I knew it all and something was not working. But then I started doing a minor in psychology and I started seeing like how humans react to situations. And as I'm dissecting my own symptoms around food, I was not born a binge eater. It was a habit that was created from anorexia. So I told myself, if I'm not born this way, I created this habit maybe out of survival, frustration, hunger, so many different reasons. So I looked more at the trauma that led me to turn to food, seeing it more as a mental health struggle, but as well a physical malnourishment trouble, because if you're not eating enough, you are going to overeat. It's just normal. And I decided to say, you know what? How can I go back to the basics? How can I bring simplicity like I was when I was a kid, when I was not struggling with my body? I was not struggling with my weight. Despite the comments that was said, I was okay with the way I was. So how can I go back and start treating my body like I would treat a 5-year-old kid? How can I have compassion towards myself like I would have for a kid? So I focused more on the mental health aspects of my struggle, but as well making sure that I got out of that dieting roller coaster that was making my cravings worse. Because I realized the more I diet, the more I'm craving. So I'm starting like connecting the dots in a certain way. But as well, I think one of the big breakthroughs that I had was I had a residency, I had an internship in an eating disorder clinic. And I was seeing how they were taking care of these clients, struggling with anorexia, struggling with bulimia. And I was like, why don't we take care of people that are struggling with their weight and binge eating the same way? Why can't we just focus on nourishment and not restriction? Because restriction leads to overeating. You tell a child not to have a cookie before dinner, he's going to find a way to go have that cookie before dinner. So between seeing how nutrition and mental health are connected in eating disorders, without even knowing it, I was like, binge eating is a type of eating disorder, even though it wasn't labeled yet at that time. So I really focused on the trauma, seeing myself as somebody who was injured, who was hurting, and treating myself with so much love and compassion through nourishment, through understanding what was making me go and turn to that food. So this is where the psychology comes in. And what I loved about yoga and mindfulness is how can I be in the present moment? Not regretting where I was before, not stressing about the future, but how can I be like right here, right now with my body? Because we have this one body and we can't like exchange it in any shape or form. So how can I take care of it like I would take care of my best friend, take care of a child, take care of my things? Because sometimes we take better care of our materialistic things than our own body. So I think the shift of seeing that I don't have to restrict, I don't have to hurt, I am in pain. How can I heal that pain? So that was the big switch that I did of taking care of myself instead of trying to fit a number on the scale, getting validation for clothing size. I ditched all that. I stopped seeing myself as a number because we are so much more than a number. Your weight can fluctuate for many reasons. It doesn't dictate your worth. But how can I wake up every day and take care of myself? How can I put my head on my pillow at the end of the day and say, you know what? I had a good day. Without the scale, without the clothing, I took care of myself today. And that was the big approach I feel that shifted me and how I helped shift my clients' lives as well.
That is a powerful approach, Dina. I mean, powerful stuff that you talked about, because the mindset and mental health. People look at mental health as this really stigma thing when it comes to the old ways how to talk about mental health. Mental health in my life, and I went through, I needed mental health recovery. Anyone that thinks less than of themselves needs mental health. The degree of mental health or the stigma that we put about it is what's causing the problem. Everyone is suffering from some form of mental health disease at some point. How you look at yourself is a mental health issue. And as you begin to address your mental health about you, who you are, and your mental health about you will begin to become more healthy. Well, we all suffer from a mental health disease at something. If someone is suffering from financial lack or whatever, he or she has a mental health about their finances, and they need to learn how to become healthy about it. I try to tell people to be kinder to yourself when someone says that. Expand that belief and that terminology, and you'll find yourself there, and you will not be stigmatized, if you will, and it will prevent you from, a lot of people prevent themselves from seeking help because of the stigma that goes with it. But I love your approach, how you began to dissect all of it. And you mentioned one of the most powerful things that one can do in their life when walking that journey is learn to be present. That is how we are to exist. In the past, you have guilt, you have shame, you have a bunch of other stuff back there. that is will come on you and hug you and be a part of your life if you continue to live there. If you live in the future, you have your anxiety, you have your fearfulness, you have all those different things there that are just, and again, these are, I tell people, your thoughts are fluid. Those things really don't exist. They're just there, and they're thoughts that are loading around. But when you're present, you're dealing with the current situation. You're dealing with you. You're dealing with you. You're not dealing with anything. And when you're there is power. Everything that you need is right there. You just have to remember to stay there. And that's the journey. It is one of the most difficult things to do in a life, is to stay present. So here you are applying powerful principles within your life, and you're seeing the results happening. You're adjusting your mental focus. You're incorporating yoga and all of these different things within your life. I know yoga will introduce you to breathing, all those breathing techniques and different things, mindset control, getting in touch with the subconscious mind and learning to be governed by the subconscious mind, a whole bunch of stuff that you're doing as you're there. As you're introducing all of these modalities in your life, which ones began to become more of an impact in your life?
That's a good question. Which one had the biggest impact? I think I would choose two if I could, because the one thing that we have to focus on is we need to nourish our body. So no matter how old you are, no matter what you're going through and how unique each person's body is, knowing how to feed your unique body is going to be one of the biggest breakthroughs you can have, because that increases energy increases confidence, you can get more activities done, you can enjoy life. So for me, even now, 25 years later after graduating, knowing how to fine tune my eating so I can show up as my best self is one of the core things I start working with my clients. And I believe that most people don't actually know how to eat. People follow maybe a food guide, people follow what they've been growing up with, but are they actually eating in an optimal way for their own health? Many people don't know. And optimal is not you need to eat like I'm eating. We're so different. So I believe the first step is when I understood how to eat for my body, and that as I'm getting older, as I'm getting different hormonal changes and knowing how to adapt my eating, I'm able to do the second part, which is choosing me first.
Yeah.
And what I liked about what you were talking about mental health is there's a big stigma behind it. We think mental health is, psychiatry. It's like depression, anxiety, all these things that you need medication. But you have to think of your brain, it's part of your body. So it's still a physical health struggle. You being tired, you doubting yourself, it's all this amazing body that you have. So instead of looking at mental health, looking at self-help. We talk about self-care, but self-health is one thing that I had to integrate of how can I, from this point forward, as much as I can, choose me first without hurting anybody around. So that's sometimes a maneuver that we need to go through. How can I choose me first, choose my career, choose my relationships, choose my activities, knowing that whatever voice I had inside of me, whatever intuition, whatever nudge that I have, there's a reason for a greater good. Like when I was young, like if I was nurtured more being that loud person, they would have seen the leader in me to have a different future. So how can I nurture those parts of myself that it doesn't mean that I'm broken, doesn't mean I'm going through anxiety, I'm turning to food, it's a problem. No, like I'm anxious. Why am I anxious? How can I feel the feeling instead of numbing it with food, instead of numbing it with alcohol? So if I look at nourishment as the one thing, the second one is how can you choose yourself and feel the feeling you're trying to avoid? Yoga helps you do that. Mindfulness helps you do that. Meditation is a big thing that helps you do that. So I would pick those two. It's hard to pick just one. So if I can, I pick two.
Meditation to me is for me, and I've said it a million times, it has saved my life. Breathing is a part of meditation, and yoga introduces you to breathing as well. And I tell people breathing to me is the bridge between the natural and the supernatural. Once you understand how to utilize the breathing, what it does when you begin to your chakras and all the different things as to your body energy levels and locations and so forth. And so the breathing is the door, the bridge by which we walk from one realm into the other. Yoga, the ancient art of yoga is something else as well that is used to change all kinds of body mechanics along with the mind, which pushes beyond the normal. But you had mentioned something that I want you to circle back a little, because to the common individual like myself, I don't know, and I've never really heard it put that way, but I understand about understanding how to eat for me.
Mm-hmm.
How did you begin to develop a process to identify that for you? And because you said this is one of the things that you held on to, and how I know you had your training with nutrition, but still there are many nutritionists that haven't seen what you see in that insight. How did
Mm-hmm.
you begin to notice it, number one? And how did you begin to put that together? Because that is a tremendous task. First, you have to understand nutrition in order to put one together. You have to understand the body as you
Mm-hmm.
understand your individual body, but you said it's based on for different bodies. How do you parse that out, Dina?
So this is like, I can say like something that took me a while to fine
Mm-hmm.
tune. It's not once I did a plan and you exactly. So giving yourself a lot of space to create and understanding your body. But I realized it's how when we're born, we know exactly when we're hungry, when we're full. Kids choose the foods that they feel like they're lacking or they need more of. So my first process in that journey is number one, I had to get my body to feel safe. I had years and years of dieting where my body felt it was always going through a famine state. And if you're always yo-yo dieting, skipping meals, going through keto and then intermittent fasting, you're a bit all over the place. Your body's survival mechanism will be the strongest, which means it's going to bring down its metabolism, it's going to increase your hunger hormone and decrease your fullness hormone. So when people get off a diet, they end up saying, I'm always hungry, I'm always famished, I don't know what to do. So the first step is getting your body back to its basic so that you're feeding your body so it's never hungry, never full. So it comes out of the survival mechanism. And
Mm-hmm.
when your body comes out of its survival mechanism, then you can go for like phase two of being curious of how does your appetite change during the day? So for example, for me, I'm hungrier before noon and I'm less hungry in the afternoon. So I allow myself to eat more in the morning and eat less at night. Now, again, it's not a choice. It's exactly
Yeah.
how I feel my body needs to be. And then you have to bring curiosity. You can't measure your portions, follow things specific. It's allowing yourself, once you bring that safety, that your body's nice and calm, never hungry, never full, you're like, okay, now let me see how my internal metabolism is during the day. And bringing a concept of curiosity, you'll end up seeing, oh, maybe I do need a bigger breakfast because I'm hungry an hour later. And maybe I need a
Yeah.
smaller lunch because I want to work out after. So you adjust a little bit your eating according to what your body's telling you. And this is where yoga, movement, and mindfulness comes in because it's hard to listen to your body if you don't take time to sit
Yeah.
and be with your body. And what's interesting after that, and that happened to me more in my 30s, I realized I was developing food inflammation and I didn't know why. I had gained weight for some odd reason. I was always swollen. And I kind of said, okay, how can I, again, take a step back, rebalance my system? Even though I was eating well, I was like, something is off. And I started being curious of writing down what I was eating. And I was like, every time I eat this food, I'm swollen. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hating it. I was like, okay, as I'm getting older, I might have food intolerances that happen and it is okay. And being okay with that, some people struggle with it. I developed intolerance to gluten after I caught a virus. So
Yeah.
I was angry at it, but then I was like, being angry is just hurting myself. I was able to understand my symptoms because I have that spaciousness and that awareness as an expert in it. And then I started
Yeah.
adapting my food so that when I ate, I feel good because you should always be feeling good after you eat. You should
Mm.
feel light. You should feel like you're able to exercise every time. You shouldn't feel stuffed, bloated, exhausted. That's when you're out of tune with your system. So it is a whole journey. So I tell clients like, it can take years for you to figure it out on your own, or you can really like trim the time down by actually working with an expert who is able to have that bird's eye view like I do with my clients. And being in the field for 25 years, I'm able to pinpoint very fast what's happening. That you need to get
Yeah.
your body out of starvation mode and make it feel safe. And then you need to kind of connect to your internal eating clock to know what is your optimal eating time because everyone is very, very different. And then the third step you have to see, are there foods that your body does not appreciate? Not your mind. Not saying, oh,
Yeah.
sugar is bad, gluten is bad. Oh, it has nothing to do with that. How does it feel in your body? When you eat that food, when you sit in it, how does it feel? And that's why connecting to your body through yoga mindfulness helps you in this amazing third step of knowing how you should eat for you and only you.
I love that. And all of you guys that are listening, and I always invite my listeners to learn to transition into a hearer. If you guys heard what she said, I believe it will free you. She gave us a masterclass, if you will,
Mhm.
in how to deal with one's body, mind, and spirit. And so I suggest that you guys go back and hit that rewind button and begin to hear what she says, all of you that are struggling with your weight. She has some insights, but we're going to provide her stuff so you can have access to her. And call her up, guys. Call her and bother her so that she can assist you
Connect with me.
guys.
Would love to support.
Yeah, so we will provide that. So you got your process. You saw it working with you, and talk to us about that first individual that you said outside of you. You're the guinea pig, and so you're looking at this other individual with this salivating look in your eyes and on your lips, and you're like, I want to try this thing out outside of me.
Uh-huh.
When you did that, and you began to see something, talk to me about that first one outside of you, when you began to hear those quote unquote testimonies of, oh, heck yeah, this is working. And how did you respond to that?
Like the first one is hard to remember because that was like 20 years ago. It's been quite a while.
Yeah.
But I still remember of the big thing that helped them is they're like, I am not alone and other people are going through that. So they kind of like decompress from their stress. And I remember as they were adding in the changes and the overeating was going down, their binge eating was going down, they felt more energized, they felt they could think clearer. And then were able to do the emotional work that was leading them to turn to food when they're stressed. So if I would say one thing, it felt like they decompressed in their stress. They finally saw something that they're actually eating to help them feel better and not restrict to help them feel better. And I think it's something more that I see now because now it's clear when I do it with the clients and my system has perfected through the years. People that have been coming struggling for 20, 30, 40 years, seeing dietitians, therapists, things are not working. And within a few weeks of rebalancing, getting their body stable and really connecting to them and not just giving them a cookie cutter plan, they feel heard, they feel understood. And when they're like, I'm eating more and I'm binge eating less, they're like, that was a solution. Food was never the problem. I just had the wrong system as I was doing the work.
Yeah, I think when you have that one-on-one approach where you're able to assist the individual in becoming a disciple, I tell people, whenever you're going to do something, approach it as one of, you're going to be a disciple with this particular thing. And I tell them, when you say that to yourself, it begins to set you up mentally, get out of the McDonald's approach, the fast food approach, because nothing when it comes to personal development is McDonald's approach. It is until you die. So you have to be a disciple, and you have to learn how to put aside your dogmatic belief system and allow yourself the opportunity to expand and question. As I tell people, everything, question the answer that is given to you, question it. And because that individual that is with you is going to be, they're going to see your eagerness and they'll be able to locate you much faster and escort you from that place, that location that has been there for many, many years. As you stated, several of them 20-something years in that same location, and spending a couple of time with you, you're able to move them from that location into a new space. And as I said, the principle is the truth will set you free. Whatever their truth is, when they are moved and they have located it, they become free. And your truth is that each one of them you look at them and you create a program for them. And
For them.
that is powerful because they feel now someone, as they say, someone is seeing me. And when someone sees them, they're able to always be in that space to trust and allow the expansion that happens. That's powerful stuff you're doing, girl. You keep it up. So here you are. This client, as you mentioned, you're seeing the process as they're getting free and so forth. As you fine-tuned your approach, and you're now looking where you're at today. You've done much. You've been in this field for a long time. What is your North Star that is pushing you? Because I tell people one thing about personal development: when one has found their assignment, their gift will begin to, they initially start using their gift, and then the gifts start using them. There's this transition that starts to happen. And once the gift begins to use us, it's a totally different ball game. What is it you're sensing within yourself as you are looking into your trying to expand yourself in a sense where you feel you are being tugged? That uneasiness, I tell people, is there for a purpose because it's trying to tell you, don't get comfortable here yet. We got more things to do. So what is it that you're feeling, that nudging, that is the underpinning with you at this present moment?
So through my journey and through perfecting the process and helping clients, right now it's really how can I get my voice out to the masses? It's really being that different voice from the typical unhealthy comments and programs and everything that is online. Even in the medical system, there's a lot of misknowledge, bad knowledge, and unhealthy practices. And I feel kind of it is my duty, like I am, coming on this podcast and coming on different ones and writing my book and being out there. It's really how can I spread more and more the message so that every time somebody watches one of my videos, let it be one person, I create that ripple effect that they see things differently, that they feel they're not alone, they're not broken, and there's a different way. And it's for me to lead by example, challenging myself to being out there, spreading my voice, spreading my message. Because as much as I love coaching my clients and they're part of my programs, there's so many people out there that need to know there's a different way. Things I wish I knew when I was younger, because we all have to be this kind of rule breaker in a certain way or create a butterfly effect. So if you have a strong message to share, and I have a strong message I want to share, is being able to help touch certain people that need to hear it so that they can live a better life. Because life is so short, and struggling with your body, struggling with your weight, feeling that you're broken, it makes it so exhausting. And I feel bad for the people that have to live that way. There's a different way to happiness. It doesn't have to be molded to what society is. I don't fit what society's standard is. There's so many things I don't fit, but guess what? It depends what my standard is. What kind of life do I want? And it's for me to break out of the comfort zone and being able to be a maverick. People might call it a rebel, but for me, it's more sharing my truth to inspire other people to know that there's another way and that they're not alone in this journey. So that's my North Star, spreading my message as much as I can, because life is so much sweeter when you get on the other side.
It absolutely is. And I always tell people, hurry up and get there, but there's a price, Dina, for getting there. And that price,
To be honest, it's a journey.
Yeah.
As you progress,
because
I took her. There's the price, but it was the gift behind it.
Yeah.
When I went through my yoga and my meditation, my training, and I'm a certified 500-hour teacher, I've lost some friends on that path, on that journey, and it was hurtful. But I had a vision of where I want to go, and I don't wish any harm to anybody. But when you start taking care of yourself, you realize who is actually around you. Are they there to uplift you to become a better version of yourself? Or are they there to keep you down so that they can feel better? And then it's a choice. It's hard. It's change. But then you surround yourself with even people that are more aligned to you. So it's seeing it as some people are in your life for a purpose to make you realize certain things. But at one point, we have to wish them farewell and goodbye. It's a hard journey. But then it's how can you create space to actually welcome more of those people that are aligned to you. So there's ups and downs, but It's always up in the end.
Well, everyone has to find their tribe. Not everyone that is in your space is a part of your tribe. And we assume that everyone that is in our space is a part of our tribe, but that's not true.
Even your family members doesn't mean they have to stay in your tribe either.
Your tribe is your tribe. You will know when you get there. One of the things that you will lose always when you are beginning to set up boundaries is people who have always violated your boundaries. And
Perfectly said.
because when you are setting them up and they recognize that they don't have that authority or that power over you anymore, that's when you're going to have those wonderful conversations and name calling that they're going to give to you and tell you all kinds of stuff. But all you have to do is recognize that your boundaries, this individual is not a part of your tribe because they are with you because of selfish reasons, and you just part. There's nothing bad about it. It's just that they are not a part of your tribe, and so there's no animosity from you, and you're able to move forward and go on with your life and wish them the best that they can. Any one of you guys that have been listening, we're going to provide everything for you guys to get to her. I actually love her approach. I swear I love her approach. It is the finest thing I've heard so far. I've interviewed hundreds of people, and
that means a lot to me. Thank you.
Many that have been in this space that you're in, and I haven't heard that approach. So I like it. I see the value. I understand what you are doing, and so we will do the best we can also to help you out there, to get you out there. And I'll talk to you about something after we hang up. So guys, again, we're going to provide everything for you guys to get access to her so that she can assist you. And one of the themes that she's been saying from the beginning of this conversation, you are not alone. You are not alone. Remember that and get in touch with her so that she can help you. There's training, there's all kinds of stuff that she can provide you with, and so that you can get out of where you're at and strengthen who you are and get familiar. Dina, thank you so much for coming to Threads of Enlightenment.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's an honor, man. Absolutely. And you keep plugging. I love that approach, as I said. And you got it.
Well, it's whatever I've gone through, I'm trying to see the cup as always full. I don't see the cup half full, half empty. It's always full. Depends how much water you want to put in it and how much space you want to keep air for it to breathe at the same time. So it's always a choice.
Excellent. Thank you. All right.
Thanks for tuning in to Threads of Enlightenment with Ken Primus. Hopefully you're now feeling more empowered to overcome the challenges in your life, whatever they may be. Share that inspiration with others by telling them about this podcast, rating it, and of course, remember to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. For more connection, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching for Threads of Enlightenment. Until next time, stay enlightened.